disruptive.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. Been a fantastic day so far. So James O'Keefe of the O'Keefe Media Group, OMG News, used to be Project Veritas, and then he did his own thing. Has been doing excellent work, and once again exposing the deep undercover, really darkness of society and the corporate consolidation on a global mass scale. And he did it once again with BlackRock, and we showed a bit of it earlier, but I want to show you this highlight here of how BlackRock purposely is promoting the Russian-Ukrainian conflict and moving this war agenda for not only the sole purpose of business and, you know, military contractors boosting their stock trades, but also how they're doing investment insider trading, secret, unethical insider trading based on the resources of this war. Because as you know, there's been a lot of stake when it comes to wheat, when it comes to oil, when it comes to natural gas, when it comes to the resources that Russia produces and the resources that Ukraine produces. So here's how this recruiter who goes by the name of Serge Varclay, who's better known as the gatekeeper of BlackRock, admits that there is secret insider trading on how they benefit with the Ukraine-Russia war and why they continue to promote this atrocity and this proxy war that is doing catastrophic damage to all people of both Ukraine and Russia and the global community around.
Any thoughts on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Ukraine is good for business. You know, right? We don't want the conflict to end.
Why?
We don't want the conflict to end as a country. The longer this goes on, the weaker Russia is.
So he said what, I can't think of the name. Oh my God, my head just went blank. Julian Assange. He just admitted what Julian Assange has always warned us about, that the goal of these wars is not to have a winnable war or to end this conflict. It's about keeping this going so that investment firms like BlackRock and the military-industrial complex can profit the most off this. And that's what he's admitting right here. We don't want this conflict to end because BlackRock is benefiting from the weakening of Russia. But as we all know, and we all found out, is that they continue on this war. Russia's actually dominating. Russia's actually getting stronger through this because their currency is now the #1 in the world, and they're also partnering with China and India and Saudi Arabia and other countries to create their own financial stability in the economy where the US dollar is continuing to disintegrate. That's what's happening right now. They are losing this battle, and they don't realize that, but they're trying to promote this as much as possible, and here's why.
I'll give an example. Russia blows up Ukraine's grain silos. Price of wheat's gonna go mad up. So what are you gonna do if you're a trading firm? The moment that news hits, within a millisecond, you're gonna pump trades into whoever the wheat suppliers are, into their stocks. Within an hour or two, that stock goes up, and then you sell, and you just made, I don't know, however many mil.
So BlackRock, the minute they know that Russia is going to blow up a Ukrainian wheat silo, or Ukraine goes after a Russian wheat silo, they know that wheat prices are going to go up. So what does BlackRock do in response? He said within a millisecond, they go into the insider trades. They pump a huge amount of money into the wheat industry, all the companies that own the wheat, because they know that the prices are going to skyrocket. They pump into that. Then it happens. Then they sell out of it, and they make millions off the atrocity. This is the thing that President Dwight D. Eisenhower, before he left office, warned us about. Nefarious ghouls like these people, like BlackRock, like Lockheed Martin, like Raytheon, like Boeing, like Northrop Grumman, like all these individuals, all these companies, these international conglomerates are going to promote this war agenda because it makes them the most capital off of our destruction. And that is why they're manipulating country after country to slaughter one another. They don't want unity. They want us to be angry with each other to the point that we massacre each other for their benefit. Our blood is on their hands. And they're doing illegal insider trading because of it.
Why would a news channel promote a side in war?
Because it's also good for business too. I mean, what's news? News, right? What does news feed on? They feed on strategy, they feed on up events. That's what people like to watch. So when it happens, it's good business. More viewers.
There's another good fact. Why does the news industry promote on war and tragedy? Why is there so many, pro-Ukrainian documentaries I see, on W5 or 60 Minutes and all this stuff about, how dangerous this war is and what a great leader Zelensky is, even though he's a fraud of a comedian. Like, why do they keep doing this? Because it glues people to the screen. The same reason that they fake cry over school shootings. It glues people to the screen. If a massacre happens and, oh my God, oh my God, it could happen in my neighborhood. How dare, oh my God, we got to do something about this. It's going to glue people to the screen. It builds viewership. It's all about ratings. As much as Brian Stelter would tell you otherwise, it's all about ratings. That's what happens in corporate news. That's why it's corporate. Real journalism does not need corporations. Real journalism is reporting something that you found and investigating what you found and presenting those findings. That's what journalism is. You don't need a corporate conglomerate to be part of it. The corporate conglomerate is just them to capitalize on the idea of news. And that's what this guy is admitting to this undercover reporter. That's all for ratings. It's all for expose. It's all for you to glue yourself to the television set and believe whatever they say to you.
When nothing's happening, watches news. I don't watch news.
They're all pushing like the same talking point. Like generally when you look at news, like
it's propaganda. The Ukrainian economy is tied very largely to the wheat market, global wheat market. This is fantastic if you're trading. Volatility creates opportunity to make profit. War is real good for business. It's exciting when goes wrong.
So, it's exactly like what happened with Venezuela. And they were trying to promote Juan Guaido as the new, interim president. This guy who came from, I think it was Washington University or Lincoln University, one of the big institutions here in America. And they were trying to throw him to Venezuela and be like, this is your new guy, ladies and gentlemen. This is your leader. Hail him as king. And that completely failed. But the reason they were trying to promote that and do sanctions and cause civil war inside their country and famine and starvation was when John Bolton went on Fox Business Channel and revealed that, did we mention that Venezuela has a big oil reserve? Did we forgot to mention that it's good for business that we continue this famine so that secretly we can go inside and siphon their natural resources so that a bunch of corporate conglomerates globally can then sell that to the masses? We're just going to hijack your resources, by the way, just forgetting to mention that. And we're just going to reveal that on a business network. Not a lot of people are going to watch Business Network, but you know who's going to watch it? Investors. People with actual money are going to be watching that Business Network going, oh, wow. I got to invest in this Venezuelan war. I got to invest in the Syrian war. I got to invest in Afghanistan. I'm going to invest in Iraq. I'm going to invest in the famine that's going on in Yemen. Because I don't care about people. I don't care about, the lives at stake. I don't care about the kids. But this is good for business. It's good for capital. It's going to get more paper into my bank.
Right?
Surge also speaks on BlackRock influenced news and even gave our journalists some tips.
Based on everything we know now, when they say to sell, does that mean we should buy?
And so, yeah. It's like, Jim Cramer? If you do exactly the opposite of what he's advising, you actually make money.
Huh?
Yeah. It's called the inverse Cramer. They don't want to be in the news. They don't want people to talk about them. They don't want to be anywhere on the radar.
Why not?
I don't know, but I suspect it's probably because it's easier to do things when people aren't thinking about it.
And when Surge was asked about insight,
Yes, it's easier to do things when you're in the dark. And that's the biggest thing about corporate media and all the advertisers. And this is something that I've learned over the years when I took media literacy in college and, going through this, is that the biggest thing why advertisers buy corporate media slots, the reason why you see, brought to you by Pfizer or a Boeing ad randomly appearing on a news segment, is not because the general public is interested in buying their own private jet. They barely have money to put food on the table. They're not going to be buying a private jet. But why is there advertising towards them? Well, there's advertising because it's not about the advertisement. They're buying the journalist. They're buying that segment so they don't get investigated. It's a legal bribe loophole for them. So every time that Boeing is advertising on, say, MSNBC, they're buying advertisement, disguising advertisement as a legal bribe so they don't get investigated. The same that goes with Pfizer. The same that goes with big oil companies. The same that goes with the rest of the war machine. The same that goes with the developing contractor. The same that goes with every single conglomerate. It's there to buy media time so that journalists continue to promote infotainment and misinformation and not actually do journalism directed towards them. BlackRock is going to buy media time so they don't get investigated. That people won't look into their wrongdoings. That's what that's about. So, this is an interesting take. This is amazing. And the fact that it literally is just literally looks like a simple stop at the coffee shop for this BlackRock employee, this gatekeeper, to just announce that the reason we're, so involved in the Ukraine war, why there's such a global consensus towards this, manipulation to believe that this war is good and we need to continue on, siphon all the economic resources, like all our tax dollars going towards Ukraine, it's for their benefit. It's not to help the people. It's not to help any Ukrainians or any Russians or anybody else, except for the fact that people are secretly, unethically investing insider trades when it comes to resources like wheat or oil or natural gas. Think of all the people that are probably selling off their stocks of natural gas when they realized that the Nord Stream 2 pipeline exploded. Russia exploded their own pipeline. And BlackRock got a key little notification on that. And they just immediately decide, hey, we should buy into natural gas stocks because they're going to skyrocket and then sell at a perfect time. Huh. It's almost like they have the blueprints of this entire war. And methinks that they've had blueprints of every other war, and this is why they are a global institution that has dominated and desecrated on a global scale for years. This is how they do this. This is how they became such a billionaire, trillionaire investment firm. Is because of siphoning countries, siphoning your freedom, siphoning the prosperity of humanity, jeopardizing all of that for their own investment wealth. They are an evil institution, and that is why I admire the French when the French protesters stormed into BlackRock and say, you want the real perpetrators, you want the real enemy, go into this institution. And that's where I wish it would happen here in Canada. I wish it would happen in the United States. That instead of yelling at each other, at our friends and families and neighbors and members of the community, we really go to the depths of the bottom of the deep state and figure out who exactly are the evil masterminds that are doing all this. Who are at the helm of controlling the puppets? Who's really at the helm of all this? That's where we come in. That's why we, do these shows and investigate. That's why James O'Keefe has these shows on Twitter. That's why he does investigation reports. And it's just phenomenal that someone's willing to actually dive deep into this BlackRock that people know about, but they don't know this much about. They are an evil organization. They're a mafia of the world, and they definitely need to be more investigated, scrutinized, and definitely shine a bigger spotlight on this is just the tip of the iceberg of the messed up catastrophe they've done to all of us.